Did not take the day off today, but hope many did. We have just went back and reviewed the game against Stanford, and there was a lot of positives in that game. Well, we talked to the team about last night. Obviously, the idea of going on the road, winning a Pac-12 game is a big deal. The fact that we haven't done that in 16 years is a big deal. To play Stanford and win, that was, really a hard environment to win in. And we're able to do that. You go back and you look, and I think Oregon was number 3 in the country 2 years ago and went to Stanford and lost the game. I know how hard it is for all sports to go up to Stanford and play, and really proud of our guys showing the resiliency that they did to win that football game. I think we did a lot of things that we want to get better at in that game. Number one thing we need to get better at is, that first 3 drives, we had a delay a game in the first drive on 3rd and 7 after missing a read on the second down, which, should have had a nice, easy conversion on the left side to Montana. And then then the next drive, we went down to the 36-yard line and decided rather than take a long field goal, we decided to punt. And the next drive went down to the 26-yard line and got stopped 3 plays in a row, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, before the 4th drive where we scored a touchdown. So moved the ball pretty well, pretty easily there. And, when you're inside the 36 twice, you got to walk away with points. Probably had a chance there to make it a 17-3 game at the end of the first quarter rather than a 7-3 game. So did not execute on that, though. Didn't get that done. Wound up having to go down to the end. Wound up going down to a 17-14 in the third quarter. Got the ball back, drove down, and really when it was 14-10, we had the ball and had a chance for Dalton Johnson to make an interception and then give us the ball back and hopefully take the lead there, 21-10. But we didn't make that play, and they scored. And then we had to score to take the lead and keep the lead. Strange game in terms of possessions. 3 possessions in the second half, 2 were touchdowns, and then the last possession we got was with 3 minutes left, and we had to run out the clock. So I was expecting 6 possessions. In the second half, we ended up with just what ended up being 4. But for the most part, I thought our defense once again stepped up and did a fantastic job. Tackles for losses, negative plays. I think they would, we had 4 3rd and 12 pluses that Stanford converted on. We get those stops and we get that one long run that we had 5 missed tackles on the same play. It would have been an elite performance by our defense. Offensively, there were some good, some not so good. We were balanced, no turnover game. I was just listening to Coach Belichick in his locker room after they just beat the Jets 15-10. The first thing he said was offense, no turnovers. And that is the formula for winning. So we've gone, Jaden has played, I think he's now in 8 quarters without throwing an interception. The 4th quarter of Mississippi State, all 4 quarters of UTEP, and then 3 quarters of this past game against Stanford. And then Noah went in and didn't turn it over. So that was good, very positive there. And we'll see how it looks this week. Don't have much injury updates on Delora, Wiley, Polito, Irby, Tai, all of those guys. We're still waiting and seeing. It's still Monday, so we'll have no real idea on if they're going to be cleared to play or not until later on in the week.
Start with Justin.
So with kind of the uncertainty with Jaden, how do you approach Noah Fafita in practice?
The beautiful thing about Noah is we've had him for the same amount of time as we've had Jaden. They both got on campus the exact same day, which would have been January of a year ago. They've learned the offense the exact same way. They've been in the exact same meetings, and they have very similar skill sets in a lot of ways. So nothing changes. And the only thing that would potentially change would be practice reps based upon Jaden's health. So if the practice reps go more to Noah and less to Jaden because he's unable to go, that would be the only difference. But in regards to game planning, regards to preparation, regards to what we would do, 0 difference.
And then when you look back on the film of the game against Stanford and how Noah came in, what impressed you the most about how he handled that situation, considering the score and all that?
Yeah, I wasn't really, worried. I didn't even think about it. I mean, the first play went in, I wanted to launch a post. We had wound up throwing the check down to Cowling for about 16 yards. But I didn't even flinch. I had the same exact play call I was going to call if Jaden wasn't hurt. And then Noah, I don't even flinch with Noah. Noah has never once given us any reason to not call what we want to call, execute what we want to execute. He's an extremely talented player. He's extremely confident and poised. So we wound up, I think, handing the ball off on second down and then breaking off a good run, or first down, second down. And then he wound up doing a beautiful job on a little naked bootleg, hit the over route, and then had two passes there in the final series on second and long and third and short to secure the win. So Noah did a great job handling everything, and would have no concern whatsoever if he is starting for us on Saturday night. But really waiting to see how Jaden's ankle is.
Michael and then David. Before Jaden got hurt, it seemed like watching from afar that he was having some trouble seeing the field, was holding the ball a lot. Yogi also mentioned in the broadcast drifting back out of the pocket. When you review the film, what did you see?
Yeah, I talked to him about the same thing. We just can't hold the ball. We don't need to do that. We need to trust our reads. We need to get the ball out there quicker. There's plenty of opportunities to not hold the ball and not have to. Now, there's a couple times that he did have to for one reason or another, but I think there's part of the game is you got to play with great rhythm and timing. And if you're not playing with great rhythm and timing and you're late or you're holding the ball, you're waiting for things to happen, you're going to miss things. It's going to feel like it's lasting forever. Obviously, there's no excuse for ever drifting back 30 yards to throw the ball away on a 3rd and 10 on the plus 36 yard line and risk the possibility of a major negative play. We wound up throwing it away, but that's nothing that we would ever coach nor permit. But otherwise, I would say, I think that there are probably some plays that he would like to have back. I think there were some plays that I would like to have back that probably didn't give him the best possible play to be successful on. The plays that he was successful on, we were able to get the ball out of our hands quickly. The ones that we were able to get it out, I think maybe we had a chance of Cowling on the sideline on the second, third down play. Probably just went off his fingertips. That was a heck of a throw. We hit the next third down to Jacob on a short yardage. We hit Tanner over the middle. But for the most part, I thought we were not as crisp as we normally are.
David and then Damien.
Jedd, two questions. The play where Noah avoided the blitz and hit Tanner, just speak to his when you talk about quick procession there, just most people think, okay, avoid the blitz now, take a moment to figure out what's going on. But he immediately got the ball to Tanner, just his ability to process quickly like that. And then defensively, the two PIs, the one on Takari, I think, in the end zone, and the one in Fusion, those thought those were massive.
It's a setup. I don't know. I thought there were some pass interferences on our players that weren't called that looked very similar to those calls. We'll just say that regarding that situation. I think we definitely had some opportunities for some PIs. But anyway, that being said, I think that when it comes down to Noah's play on the bootleg where he was rolling out, where they played the defensive end played right up the field, where he had to slam the brakes on, get his eyes around, and then Tanner just either flashed in his vision. He obviously knew where he was going to be, but immediately got it out of his hands. Number one goes to his preparation because he knew exactly where all the bodies were going to be. Number two goes to his twitchiness. He's extremely fast when he makes his decision. So he's able to get the ball out of his hands and at a very, very high tempo. And that's one of the biggest things that you look for when you're looking at NFL quarterbacks is how quickly can they speed it up at the top when somebody pops open. And I would say Noah does a great job of speeding it up at the top and being able to get the ball out of his hands very quickly.
Damien and then Justin.
Chris, similarly, but you talk about the similar skill sets between Jaden and Noah. So what are their biggest differences?
Well, I mean, the simple answer would be experience. Jaden started 32 games in college football already this year, where this would, if Noah happens to be starting, would be his first. So experience-wise, what they've seen over time, what he's seen regarding, let's call it, all the different looks that he's had to deal with, and where he is able to kind of pull back from the memory banks of this is where I would have gone versus this defense. That makes a difference. I would say I don't think anybody that I've ever coached has the unique ability to make some of the splash plays that Jaden can make, where he is avoiding sacks, getting out of bad situations, using his feet to his advantage, and then keeping his eyes downfield to hit an explosive play. But we haven't seen that from Noah yet. He hasn't had those opportunities yet where, but for the most part, when you look at both the players, they both, are able to control the huddle. They're both able to control the line of scrimmage. They both have understanding of the offense. They both can make all the throws on the field. You don't have to worry about, is that too far of a throw? Is that something that we don't feel comfortable throwing outside the numbers? All the things for our offense, both of those guys can execute.
Justin and Michael.
Mel Kiper put Jordan Morgan, 22, on his big board. What do you think about that? And what do you think makes Jordan a first round?
Yeah, I think Jordan's a first round tackle. I've been saying that all year and last year. What makes you a first round pick is number one, a team needs a tackle and they're picking at that spot where it's your time. Number two, he's got the size, athleticism. He can really handle an end on his own without having to worry about necessarily you providing a lot of chip help with the backs and tight ends. He's able to get to the second level of blocking, where that means that he can go block not just a defensive line, but he's athletic enough to go block linebackers and defensive backs in space. That's a big part of being an offensive line. He has a nastiness that he's not afraid to, play 75, 80 plays and get physical each play. And he has great poise. And when you look at those contributing factors, great feet, great poise, a toughness or nastiness about yourself, and the ability to play in space, that's what separates the offensive linemen that are in that second to fourth round or third to fourth round based on just size and one of those traits versus the first rounders that have all four of the traits.
Michael and David, what was the coaching message to Jacob on the kickoff at the end of the game? Building right now.
Yeah, not the right coaching message. We need to touch that. We need to a fair catch that. That needs to be fair caught, and that's a mistake on our side, on our end, and I need to do better there. I need to make sure he's aware of that situation where you don't just have to be in the end zone to fair catch the ball. There was a lot happening at that point in time. It was an onside kick, timeout, onside kick. They call it defensive offsides penalty. We wind up having, they're saying that Roberto lined up on the line there. And then they go, we're coaching up the onside kick. They spread out. Now they kick it deep. And can't call back-to-back timeouts. So it was one of those weird situations. I need to do a better job of making sure Jacob fully understood that scenario. And that's a fair catch scenario for sure.
Damian and then David for our last one.
Jedd, how do you address the fact that Arizona hasn't come away with any points 3 straight first quarters?
I really don't really look at it too much. I know that seems like that's a story, but I look at the fact that we're 3-1. And the only loss we've had was in overtime on the road against an SEC school. And I'm proud of the way our guys are playing. I think that we've had some opportunities for points. We just haven't come down with them. Certainly this past game, you're on the 36, you're on the 26. Make the block, make the throw. I just think there's some of those plays are just weird. They're just weird. It feels like we've crossed the 50 a lot in the first quarter of games. So we just maybe this will be the week that we can turn those into points. We're certainly going to have to against this team.
Our last question to David.
Just to follow on Damian's question there, Jedd, where are you most comfortable with Tyler? You talked earlier about, you got to that 36, you thought that was long, and then the next possession you went for. Where are you most comfortable with him inside the 40-yard line?
Yeah, I would say that, the wind was a little bit swirling. So I didn't want to kick it. It would have been a 53-yarder. And I'm really comfortable with the way our defense is playing right now that I much prefer to try to pooch kick it and back them up to the 10. I think is was what the goal would be in those situations, get an inside the 10 punt. I think we did that with the UTEP game where Jaden punted, and I think he got down on the 8. That's kind of, but that's kind of the mentality there. But I would kick the ball. I think Tyler's very comfortable in that 52, 53-yard field goal range. So that would be about the 35, probably just because of how early it was in the game. And I just didn't want – they had a 3-0 lead, and I didn't want to give them a short field where they only had to go 60 yards or so. In that case, I wanted to play good defense and get the ball back and drive down the score and take the lead.
All right, that's our time.